3 years ago, I started my AI agency. Today, I live my dream life. And I don't say this to flex, I say this to show proof. I've been able to buy my dream car, a Ferrari 296. My daily is an AMG SL65. I actually just got this one last week. I'm able to move out of my hometown, a population of 1,000 people, and here to Austin, Texas at my pretty large apartment. I'd say I've done pretty well for myself. And I've done well because I understood niches. A lot of AI agency owners, they jump straight in and they simply don't understand niches. They go into a niche that is not profitable, that's almost impossible for them to be profitable inside of. Then they wonder why it didn't work out. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 3 sectors you should absolutely avoid, and I'm also going to show you the 3 verticals that are the best to go into in 2025 and 2026. Now, that said, all of this is not me pulling it out of my ass. This is data between my agency and over 150 partner agencies that I work with at the time of filming this video. So it's pulled from our data bank and from our database, which we pull all these insights from. Now, that said, what is the niches you should not go after? The number one niche you should not go after, and that I've never seen somebody be successful going after, is e-commerce businesses. This is businesses like clothing brands, businesses like, random drop shippers online. And there's a reason why this doesn't work for AI agencies. As an agency, you want to charge large numbers up front. We charge $15,000 plus up front for services at my AI consulting firm. And if somebody comes to us and they don't have sizable amounts of money, obviously we won't close them because we're not profitable. The issue with e-commerce businesses is their average ticket price is like $70 for some hoodie. When they see a $10,000 price tag, they don't think of it the same way maybe a roofing company, for example, would. And we'll talk about that later in this video. But a roofing company, if they close one roofing deal, that easily pays for the $10,000 service they paid me. But when an e-commerce company hears that it's going to be $10,000, what instantly goes through their head is, oh my God, that's 700 sales. So these companies need to transact 700 times to even see an ROI, let alone become profitable after all their costs of fulfillment too. So it's just near impossible for an e-commerce business to pay you lump sums up front and still be profitable, meaning I don't like to work with them because I only like working with rich people who have money to pay me. Second business you shouldn't work with, pretty self-explanatory, but software companies. They're pretty tech savvy already. If they want AI systems, they're going to build it for themselves. They don't need an external agency to come in and build it all for them. In fact, they'll almost feel a bit offended if you try to go in and build it for them. Software companies, I've never seen it work before for an AI agency. I've seen a lot of people try it and never once has it worked. And it's for that reason. These people just go and do it themselves. If they wanted it, they would quite literally already have it. These are tech savvy people. And the third sector you should never go after is the agencies, info products, consulting, coaches space. Very similar to SaaS, these are not non-tech savvy people. In most cases, they already understand what AI is. They already use it in their day-to-day. So if they wanted these systems, they could easily do it on their own. I've also never seen that work. But now to what works. And you guys are going to want to see the last one because the last one, we started a brand new agency about 45 days ago in this niche. And to this date, 45 days later, we've done over $80,000 in cash collected and over $100,000 in revenue with 67% profit margins. But the first sector that we're going to talk about, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, it is the home service sector. For those of you who know, like I mentioned, I was born on a small farm, middle of nowhere, Virginia. I didn't have internet until I was 13 years old. I'm 18 now, 5 years later. We've done a lot on the internet since then. But anyway, beyond the point, my first business was a pressure washing company. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always been the type of guy to want to run my own business and not have a boss. So my first business was just a small pressure washing company. And I'd go door to door, knocking on doors, trying to sell pressure washing jobs with my grandma's $200 pressure washer that I had to buy a bunch of parts and fix up to even get to a point where it was usable. And over time, I became sick of this. The whole point of starting this business was for me to get out of the rat race that I saw my parents get into, but I found myself in that same rat race. It was essentially a glorified 9 to 5. So what I did is I started using these new tools, this thing called ChatGPT when it first came out, I started using these AI tools to make advertisements for my pressure washing company. One thing led to another. I was in all the pressure washing Facebook groups, networking with other business owners around America, and I started sharing some results, how I was getting jobs with these AI systems. And one after another, these pressure washing business owners started lining up in my DMs, messaging me, "Hey dude, I'll pay you $1,000 to teach me what you did," or "Hey dude, I'll pay you 5 grand to just do it for me." I was like, holy cow. And this is what started the AI agency for me, the home service sector. Then over time, I started expanding. I got out of the small pond of pressure washing and expanded into the wide blue ocean of home service. And it's still a blue ocean today. That's a simple truth. People make it out like it's saturated, but it is not. It's a great sector because these businesses have loads of money to spend and they see a return on their investment so fast. Average roofing job in America is like $9,000. You can easily charge 10 grand because guess what? Opposed to the e-commerce businesses where it's like, holy cow, I got to make 700 sales. It's like, okay, I make one sale and I make my money back. Easy return on investment. They can see it so fast, and that's why this is such a powerful niche. HVAC is another great example of a great home service niche. You could go lower ticket like the landscapers and lawn care companies. Obviously, they're not making 10 grand up front, but these businesses know that their money is in the lifetime revenue of the customers that they acquire. So if you can even get them a job, or maybe they get $200 up front, well, guess what? That person's going to subscribe and they're going to cut their lawn for basically the rest of that person's life until the day they die. So it's still valuable. They still see massive value. So that is a great niche to go after. Now, the second one, and like I said, the third one is crazy. We went in this niche, we just crushed it. The second one is professional services. I love this niche because it's very easy to do outreach from. Now, if you don't want to go the paid ads route, this is by far the best businesses to reach out to. You're on LinkedIn, you can buy a $100 subscription to LinkedIn Sales Navigator and reach out to these businesses like crazy. But the best part about the professional services niche is most of these niches are relatively untapped. You're going to have very, very little competition when you go into these niches. For example, I know a guy who is in the law firm niche, and off one client that he has a rev share agreement with, he makes over $100,000 per month. One client making over 100 grand in his pocket, personal profit. There's virtually no fulfillment costs because AI is doing all the work. And that's insane, but it's because there's very few people serving this niche, and these businesses have lots of money. They're quite literally accountants. So they're always looking for a write-off. They're always looking for a new thing they can invest in to try to reduce that tax bill. So it's fairly easy to convince these businesses to pay you. You're not going to have a very hard time on these sales calls. These are logical business owners. Or a roofing company, although, they're going to see the logic too, they're a little bit more emotional. They're not as sophisticated. In a lot of cases, they struggle to even get on the Zoom link. They're the most non-tech savvy person you can possibly imagine. The professional businesses, they're tech savvy enough. They're understanding. They know how businesses operate, and they're going to be very logical. So if you can go to these calls and you can easily find reports on companies like McKinsey, which is the largest consulting company in the world, go on McKinseyandCompany.com, find their AI Insights articles, go find these data points, and just go to these sales calls, show these professional business owners the simple data points, and they're going to be falling over head over heels to become your client. I have members in my mastermind doing that exactly. They're not even spending money on paid ads. They're just going on LinkedIn Sales Navigator, joining some Facebook groups for lawyers, and just reaching out to these people, showing the data from McKinsey and these billion-dollar consulting firms, and closing deals as we speak. Now, the third one is the one I know you guys have been waiting for, the niche that I'm in, the niche that I made $80,000 in cash with a 67% profit margin on within only 45 days of starting. It is the medical space. I overlooked this space for 2 years. 2 years, I just looked at his face and I'm not going into it. I can promise you guys, this is the best decision I ever made. The medical space is great because these businesses get paid lots of money, just like the home service or professional sector, but they are so niched down, like dental clinics, peptide clinics, people who do med spas, so like plastic surgery clinics, these super specific niches. It's relatively untapped, and these people see value so fast. I've never been able to join an industry where I build an AI system and the person on the other end gets results so fast. So for example, my offer that I start businesses for 10 to 15,000 up front. We will generate them leads. Then we build a retail AI caller to call the leads and send them into appointments. And then we have a system with Claude AI where it analyzes all of their sales calls and then constantly rewrites a script from the ground up to be 10 times better before every call. So their closer or their salespeople, whether it's in person or online, is constantly improving. These businesses see massive ROI and they're going to have no trouble paying you loads of money. Now, I know I mentioned it once or twice throughout this video, but I do run a private mastermind. Inside of my mastermind, you quite literally get one-on-one coaching from me. You basically get my personal phone number. You can text me whenever you have questions. I do 5 weekly Zoom calls where you can hop on and ask me any questions. You get all my templates and systems to acquire clients, and you get all my templates and systems to fulfill for those clients and make them happy clients who pay you for life. So if that's even 1% interesting to you, click the top and only link in the description of this video to book a one-on-one game plan call, either with me personally or my business partner if I can't make it, or number one, hop on and give you a bit of a game plan, but more importantly, see if I feel like you're a fit for Mastermind. If that's the case, we'll partner up together. Now that said, click that top link in the description. I'll see you guys there and have a great rest of your day.